order it in advance. And to have a demonstrated need for it.
Oh.
They didn't want to answer
Full
that
circle.
question. I know the answer to the question. I just
Yeah.
ask it anyway to put pressure on them. Hi, friends. Host Eric here. Talking festival. Waiting for my man. What does that mean? Well, same thing it always meant. I'm waiting for my man.
For your man?
$24 in my hand. He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you always gotta wait. Yeah, your man is your drug dealer.
Oh.
You see, I'm waiting for my drug dealer.
You are.
Unfortunately, my drug dealer is a pharmacy.
They have a Pfizer person who comes in with a nice suit. And...
He's my man, yeah.
Yep.
Hey, white boy, what you doing uptown?
I'll come here.
Hey, white boy, you come chase all women around? That's the lyrics.
Oh,
Well, no, pardon me, sir. It's fresh from my mind. I'm just looking for a real good friend of mine. I'm waiting for my man. Ding, 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 ding. It's a great Velvet Underground song.
I've never heard it before.
I had to wait for the man the first time in a decade last week. I almost forgot the struggle, almost. Well, you know, it's like I went for my speed prescription to come in. They got to order it. They always got to order it or some bullshit.
Always.
It's ridiculous. It's almost like they don't want me taking speed. Well, needless to say, I go in there and make trouble for them every time it's not available. I raise a little fuss. You know, as they say, why? Look, I come and get this shit every month. No, I did not get my drugs. No, I did not.
Excuse my cough.
Now, I do expect to get some drugs today. I'm going to have to borrow some from a friend, so to speak. But,
My friend?
well, a daughter. A daughter or friend, you know.
I love that she's at the beach. Means she's not wearing a mask. Well, at least part of the time.
Try some G Fuel instead? No. Listen, I'm not a G, okay? I'm not an OG, not a PG, and I'm not a QG.
What is G Fuel?
It's gangsta fuel. I don't know. What is G Fuel, Raphael? Anyway, one thing we did get accomplished, though, is we got, for our bongs, new bowls.
Yay!
Yay! Because both of the bowls had broken. Both my bong and Rachel's bong take the same size bowl. So when my bowl broke, I started borrowing Rachel's bowl. Soon enough, of course, I broke Rachel's bowl as well.
Pretty magically.
Yeah, this was Rachel's bowl. It was like this.
He was cleaning.
Well, if you were here in the live stream this morning, you saw me break it. It was like this, and I didn't know it was cracked. I guess I blew on it, and the whole top half came off.
Wow. It's because your lungs are that strong.
Cloud, will you just call yourself Cloud, please, instead of Mike Jones?
And this is mine.
And that's Rachel's.
Yeah.
Rachel got an adorable puppy one.
Yeah, puppy one. Isn't that adorable? I think it's
That's too many euros to spend on a bong.
He's ready.
Euros. What a silly currency. You're not my man, Oliver Linehan. You don't have my drugs. It's a reference to a Velvet Underground song. Of course, in the VU song, he's going to buy heroin, but I don't do that stuff. Heroin's a ghetto drug. So, puppy head makes drug use more innocent. That's a good observation, Raphael. These aren't drugs we're doing anyway. We're just smoking weed. Big difference.
Grass, as they call it.
Big difference between doing drugs and smoking weed.
Yeah.
I would like to do drugs. My drugs are coming on Wednesday. Wednesday? But it's Monday right now. That's like 2 days from now. I can't wait that long. Hello? Hi. You may remember me from such relationships as paternal or filial. That's the opposite of paternal. Did you know that?
What?
What's the opposite relationship of paternal? Paternal meaning parents to children. What's children to parents? Filial.
Filial.
Filial with an F.
Filial.
Filial. Filial.
So I have a filial relationship with my dad.
Raphael, why are you such a scumbag about drugs? Because I want my drugs does not mean addiction pressure kicks in hard. I haven't done any of these drugs for weeks now. So how could I possibly be addicted to them? Being fiendy and being addicted are different things. Now, let's not pretend they aren't. No, as everybody drops their phone in the toilet. Now, Rachel drops her phone in the toilet periodically, like every year or so.
No, it's been better than that.
It's been better than that.
Yeah, I used to be known for it.
Okay.
But
that's fourth slot, Essie.
Yeah. So but now, like, that was a real weird, like, I had literally just told him about how I'm known for dropping it in the toilet.
And
what
then
happened?
You dropped it in the toilet.
And I dropped it in the toilet. So
she's dropped it in the toilet twice, I believe, since she's been with me. Once in New York by yourself.
No.
Oh, you didn't break? You broke that some
I cracked it. I broke it.
Okay.
I dropped it on the Rite Aid floor.
Okay, and then she dropped it in the toilet here once.
Yeah.
So it is a weak SE thing, but fourth is not quite as bad as Polar. I actually wonder if Polar might be a little bit better about that sort of thing. It's where there's an advantage to being Polar, which is you don't tend to engage in the area of thinking at all, sort of. It's like fourth slot FI is going to have more FI problems than seventh slot FI, because seventh slot FI is never going to notice one's own FI problems.
Well, TE might look like a corner like this. I have 2 lighters, 2 eyelash mascaras, and
a cup of
coffee's not stirred. Like, I have 3 things going on right now, and I haven't. The order of it is not like.
I didn't say, Raphael, that you were hard. I said you were a scumbag about drugs. That is to say, you try to impose your own position on it on everybody.
NC.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Not cool indeed. Everyone's doing a bit different. Everyone is equally the same.
I mean, hey, Raphael, you don't hear me musting your chops about being such a douchebag, and that's a lot worse than doing drugs. Oops.
Did it again.
I joke, I jest, I kid. Eric, when did you become convinced there's such a thing as Polar, and how? Well, I became convinced that Polar was the key to successfully typing people when I realized that there were specific skills deficits that were markedly more dramatic than the range of other people in certain very specific people. And namely, it's most definitively notable in TI Polar and in SI Polar. If you test some people, they don't even get the concept of the TI question.
I'm starting to understand NE Polar.
I'm getting a better sense of NE Polar too. Working with Chloe yesterday, my ISTP girl, I had two two tasks for her. One is identifying. I'm waiting for my man. $26 in my hand.
Yeah.
He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you've always got to wait. No, pardon me, sir. It's furthest from my mind. I'm just waiting for a real good friend of mine. That's the Waiting for Drugs song.
I like that.
It's by Velvet Underground. If you want to look it up and listen to it.
He took heroin?
Yeah, he was a heroin addict.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did he die from it?
No, he quit it, kicked it at some point.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal.
I actually don't find any polar the easiest polar to ID. But I will tell you about this ISTP girl, right? So I had two tasks for her to do. One is I can actually show you the document. Let me show you this document. This will be helpful in revealing any polar a bit for an ISTP girl. Let's see. Share this document. Copy link. Take to anyone with the link. Copy link. Can view. All right. So this is some grammar teaching that I'm doing with an ISTP girl. Okay. And if you go down to pages this. All right. So if you go down to page 8 of this document, you'll see it says, I've given the instruction, number 1, prepositional phrase working as an adjective. And she's got to come up with a prepositional phrase working as a sentence that has a prepositional phrase working as an adjective. These ones here, I had to work extremely, it took a long time. You see, we only did 8 of them because that took a whole 30 minutes to do 8 of these because she has such difficulty coming up with sentences about anything. And you can see the quality of her sentences that she comes up with here. And most of these, like the puppy in the store window barked. This should be window too. I'll just put that store barked. The puppy was in the store. To have fun is good. Chloe has to do things. The one to ask is Bob.
That was me in Spanish class. That's like the kind of sentences I used to do in Spanish class.
I went to buy food. I practiced tuning. I can talk about finding things. I had to generate this one basically for her. She couldn't figure this one out. But that takes a ton of time. But if you go up to page, or go down actually to page 9, in this one, I provide the sentence and she identifies the thing in it, either the clause or the phrase. So the example is number 1. Does this sentence have an infinitive phrase to underline? To underline is the infinitive phrase, modifying phrase, working as an adjective, therefore. Number 2, while you were joking around to finish the project. So I wrote these sentences and they each have one thing in them, either a verbal phrase or an infinitive phrase. I mean, some kind of verbal or a dependent clause. She's much better and faster at identifying these things in my sentences, and much slower and struggles much more when she's asked to generate sentences herself. And this is, it's like pushing on Chloe's innie is, you can see the total absence of it. It's kind of crazy.
Hey, Winston's mom and Octavia Silva. Saw your hello before. How much is that doggy in the window?
$6.
By Patty Page.
Very cheap dog.
My grandma used to sing that song to me as a kid. But I never knew it was by Patty Page. Hey, Rathor Vicky. Rathor Vicky says specifically Eric.
He doesn't greet you. Hi, Fenty Deluxe. Hi, Rathor Vicky. Hi, Octavia Silva. I think Jordan Peterson is a good psychologist, even though he had addiction problems. What do you think comprises a good psychologist? So if you feel as though it's very challenging to produce a linear progression of minor events from when you woke up until now, then you're not an SI user.
Yeah, that was one thing that, like, I remember when during the typing session, like with me, I was like, well, my routine pretty much changes like a little bit every day. And it truly does. There are some basic things that I do every day.
Okay, this is an NI response to SI question. The SI question is, if you can produce a sequence of events from when you woke up today until now, then you are probably an SI user. Okay,
Yep.
anywhere
You can
1
do
through
it.
4. I can do
You
it. Doesn't
can.
have to be first, doesn't have to be second, anywhere 1 through 4. If you answer in response to that prompt something like, well, you see, my normal routine is blah, 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 and don't address today, but instead address mornings in general and think about mornings in general, then you are probably an NI user. Now, if it's polar, you literally can't do what I said. If it's anything but polar, but on the backside, you'll just sort of slide back into this general thing that she just did, right?
Yeah. With NI? Hey, Zandy. So,
All right, probably. Andy, why don't you tell us about your morning this morning? What did you do right after you woke up? For the first several things you did after you woke up, Zandy, tell us. Let's hear from Zandy. I'll tell you what I did, and then Zandy, you tell me, okay? So the first thing I did when I woke up is I went outside and I smoked a cigarette. And the second thing I did after that was I made coffee, and then I came, sat down in here, and I started live streaming. And then I had to go poop during the live stream, so I went inside and I pooped. And I came back outside and finished live streaming. Can you do that, Zandy? I bet you Zandy can't do that. Let's see here. I really like your question, Raphael. Raphael, you asked a great question here. Eric, what's the hardest but most rewarding thing you ever did?
good question.
That is a good question. I would say probably, interestingly, getting my first and only speech kid to win a national championship. I had a kid in declamation. I'm not a speech coach, I'm a debate coach. But before I got a debate national champion, I had a speech national champion in declamation.
Oh.
And the speech I had him do was, Don't Give Up, Don't Ever Give Up by Jimmy V. So, if you're familiar with the speech, Jimmy V has cancer, or if you're not familiar with the speech, Jimmy V has cancer. He's got a few months to live, and he's giving this speech at the ESPYs. And, there are moments in it where, like, some guy in the back is holding up a sign to him saying 30 seconds. And he's like, 30 seconds. There's this Italian thing he goes, Baffagaioli, or something like that.
Bafangul.
Bafangul. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. He
Go fuck
says that.
yourself, it means.
Okay, Bafangul. he says, Bafangul, my body's riddled with tumors. I care what this guy with the sign thinks. There's it's a great speech. And I got Jeremy to do it as much like Jimmy V as I could, with adding some moving around and stuff. Because, when when you're doing a declamation speech, you have access to the front of the room space. And so I move them around, put in gestures, you know. And I bang into the door. There's 1 minute left. I bang through the door. Guess what? The door was locked. I fall down. My arm's hurting. I'm shaking my arm. They open the door. They say, get the coach up. Get the coach up. Are you okay, coach? I say, I'm fine. I'm fine. I say, men, if you can focus on just 3 things and 3 things only this year, we're going to have a successful year. Your God, your family, and the Green Bay Packers, I said. He was the coach of Rutgers University. He had read this speech.
So funny.
He had read this speech by Vince Lombardi where he gave this speech to his kids. And this was his first year as a coach of the freshman team back when their freshman teams at Rutgers University. And he memorized what he was going to say. He was going to go in there and say, just remember 3 things: your God, your family, and Rutgers basketball. But when he actually got into there, instead of saying Rutgers basketball, he said, as Vince Lombardi had, the Green Bay Packers. So anyway, it was a great speech. And I worked with him on it for months. And I cut the shit out of it. And I like cut it perfectly. And he was a difficult kid to work with. He was talented, but he didn't like to practice or show what he didn't like to try hard and practice. I had to wrestle with his ass. At the tournament, at Nationals, he tried to skip going to his round for one of that event's round because he didn't have that much faith in that event, and he was feeling lazy. Fortunately, my ex-wife made him go. It turned out that was the event that he won the national championship at. And he advanced in one of his other events too, but he didn't get very far in it. So he was also my boss's kid. The vice principal's kid. Okay, so
awkward.
No, I mean it was perfect.
That is.
How great is it when you get your boss's kid to win the national championship?
I mean, that's pretty dope. And really, like, it sounds like a movie moment. Like a glow about the room.
Oh,
like,
it was.
When
it was so memorable. It was like he's up on stage, and the way they do it at Nationals is they bring up the 6 people who made the finals, and then they count them down 6-1. So you know when your kid wins when they say the name of 2, right? So they go in 6th place, and we're all sitting there like all together, the team, you know, and Jeremy's up, except for Jeremy is up on stage, and they go, you know, in 6th place, some other school, somebody else from some other school. They first say the school. They go from Flint Ridge Academy in North Dakota, Johnson, from Cooperstown, Ohio. You know, because they come from all over the country, right? For the national championships. And then they'll say the school, and the kid's name. And so they go 6, 5, somebody else's school, 4, somebody else's school, 3, somebody else's school, and then they're down to the last 2, and they pause for a second. You're just like, oh my God, I'm gonna explode here. Is it possible? No way. It's no way we're gonna win this thing. But now it's seeming very possible. And finally, go in 2nd place from Wrightford, Texas. And I'm just like, fuck yeah! Oh my God, we won. That was the high point, probably because it was my first ever national championship. They're hard to win, obviously. It is not easy to get one. Even if you got a big squad and you got a lot of good entries, it is not easy to win the whole thing. It's a lot of entries. You know, it's the best kids in the country.
It's so exciting. What a moment.
And I had to work hard at it. I had to work hard at it with Effie, with the kid, and I had to work hard at it with TE that I didn't necessarily like with the kid. I had to work hard in areas that weren't necessarily my natural skill sets. I'm not a bad speech coach, and declamation is an event that is a little less acty than some of them, but it was still basically an acting coaching thing for me. I'm doing a lot of line coaching. No, say it like this, gesticulate like that. And so I feel very proud about having won in something that's not my my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's
you know?
dope. Yeah.
I feel good about
That's a
that.
big win.
Thank you for asking that question, Raphael. That was a great question. I enjoyed answering it.
That is a great question. And what a great answer.
I have to reach these kids. I don't struggle like that. You know, I don't struggle with that shit.
That's so great. That's good.
I
That's
know
what
what
a teacher should.
the good thing about being a debate coach is you don't have to worry about what success is. It's easy. It's easy to understand what success is. Success is winning, and failure is success is winning or getting better. Failure is losing or getting worse. Mike Jones, will you just call yourself Cloud already? You'll notice Andy never answered my SI question.
She says that
She
she
just
would know
ignored
what
it.
to. Yeah, well, she goes to parties, and when people ask her there, people like laugh, and she stares blankly at them. Poor Sandy.
Can we perfect her personality?
I think I would stop and be like, why? In my head, I would be kind of like,
Yeah, well, look, you can perfect your person to some extent. Not perfect it all the way, but you can optimize your person.
it was a speech that you showed me on YouTube, right? With the guy from NC State.
Yeah. He was the
That's
coach
such a
of NC
great
State.
speech.
Hi,
Cloud.
You and Mike Jones should chat.
How can you optimize? Please tell.
Well, okay. The thing what I believe to remember about optimization is it has two components to it. One is a difference between present state and a preferable understood state that's possible that one could achieve in the future, right? So on the one vector is the ideal versus the established standard status quo. If you're Christian, for example, you understand that ideal is being Jesus, and the difference from Jesus and you being the area in which you could optimize. That would be one frame of reference which you could optimize like. And how does one deal with the blue ball problem? Like this. It's pretty straightforward. You jostle your bits. I'd recommend jostling your bits.
Jostling of the bits.
But you don't have to be religious to have an ideal. You can have an understanding of your own personal self as manifesting more or less successfully than you are now.
Do your lips feel chapped, Cloud? That's a long time to be making out.
Cloud,
Snogging.
you're such a topic hijacker. I'm chatting about something serious and important right now, okay? Something really serious and really important. It's my chode.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's my chode.
I like your chode. There's nothing wrong with it. Host Eric, what do you
I've
say
yet to meet one.
to those ESFPs and ENFPs who say
I've
they
never
got
met
through
one.
the TI questions no problem?
I've never met one.
And neither have I.
I've never seen one demonstrate that to me. Cloud, we don't want to hear about your organ, okay? We don't even want to hear about your experience playing Oregon Trail.
Or organs. I don't want to hear about your organ playing, whether musical, whether junk.
Look, if you're not fapping, but you're ejaculating in sex, why just not fap then? It's not like...
I mean, what ends up happening to a lot of people, to be totally honest with you with that stuff, is that they end up having wet dreams. And how awkward is that? Like, that's no one, you don't want to have that. Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail's great.
If your biggest judgment for TI polar test, you wouldn't type anyone who succeeds in the TI polar test as TI polar. Well, sure, because and this is the nice thing is there are actual realistic definitional binaries. In other words, an interested calculus and a disinterested calculus are mechanically inversely proportional to one another. The more of one there is, the less of the other there is. And so, in other words, because definitionally, somebody who is an extroverted intuitor and who primarily is capable of using primarily uses a disinterested calculus is an ENTP, somebody who is capable of passing a TI polar test, that is to say, who successfully does all the TI questions, will be, in fact, an ENTP. I mean, it's like you're saying, okay, Eric, yes, liquid and solid state things are yes, land creatures and sea creatures are different, but what about sea creatures who say they can go on the land? Aren't you just defining them as land creatures because they're on the land and breathing air? Well, yeah, I am. Is there something wrong with that?
Life. No.
That's why I'm defining them as land creatures, because they're on the land and breathing air. What about the sea creatures who claim that they spend all their time on land breathing air? Well, then they're not sea creatures. They're land creatures. It's a pretty straightforward answer to that question.
As an INFP, believe that you have a huge aura. You do.
A huge aura? Who has do I have a huge aura or a small aura?
No.
Well, what's more masculine? Is it more masculine to have a big aura, or is it more masculine to have a small aura?
I want to know too.
Because I want the more
my
masculine
aura?
size aura.
What's my aura? I used to play that game actually. I used to play What's My Aura with an INTP and an ENTP. We would go into the shed and turn off the lights, and I was able to see some of them. It's fun. Like, I'm not like.
Well, look, you should remember something else, Raphael. I'm sorry, not Raphael. Upton Plates. I have asked Cloud a TI question before. He got it right, and under a little bit of questioning, revealed that he had Googled the answer.
Yes.
So there's that too.
Boom.
Okay.
Bomb.
Yes, you can get it right if you Google the answer. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count at all.
That's good TE. Is what that is. I'm curious. I want to know if aura size matters. Okay, if aura size matters.
I need to know too.
If I'm a man with a huge aura, is that attractive or repulsive to women?
If
And if you're a woman with a huge aura,
does that attract or repulse? Because it's different. People claim it's different for females and men.
Okay, but you know what I'm just hearing right now, Rachel, is we may have the dynamics of this wrong. Oliver Linehand points out that density and rotational velocity are more important than aura. And aura quality, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Than its size.
But I don't know what that is.
How dense is my aura, and which direction does it rotate, and how fast?
Where?
Are important questions. From whom can I learn the answer to these important questions?
Who, what, where, when, and how.
And why.
And why.
Don't forget why.
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's the main ENTP question.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
But it's why.
Why and how?
Your root chakra hurts like.
Sounds like you need to take a poopy. That also helps your root chakra.
Pooping helps your root chakra. It does.
You could look it up.
Okay, Rath or Vicky, do you have any aura calisthenics to help me get more bulk in my aura?
You want more bulk?
Well, he says here, it matters because huge aura makes you admirable and people follow you. So I want to bulk up my aura. Should I take a lot of metaphysical protein in my shakes?
And am I lacking?
Because
I'm not sure.
because my aura has been totally ignored.
What do you say to those who say ISFJ host Eric is okay? Well, you're mixing here. First of all, there's two different claims there, right? So first says Eric's a host Eric's an ISFJ. That's claim one. And the second claim is that my TI questions, the deductive reasoning questions, are testing IQ and working memory, not TI. I would concur that some of the TI questions are testing working memory, and that that's one good way to distinguish between STPs and NTPs. I would ask them to provide an alternate test for TI that's preferable, and or to explain why my test of TI ought not be considered a test of TI. I've given you plenty of reasons why it is. Understanding that TI and FI are arbitrary labels for the phenomena of disinterested and interested calculi, given that disinterested and interested calculi are distinct things and that they are inversely proportional to one another, which they are in both cases, then we need to account for them by a cognitive function. Certainly they qualify as an attentional manner, and they qualify as the two halves of a deliberative attentional manner. So what's wrong with my modeling of it? I do have a model of it. It's correct. It withstands muster. That's a dissembling, half-assed nonsense critique.
Rafael Eldelios, why are you laughing so hard, Rachel? If someone says that, says what? We all know I laugh a lot.
Raphael, one doesn't learn a perceiving function. One doesn't learn functions. That's the fortunate reality of things. Because it is the case that with right-handedness and left-handedness, that somebody is going to throw a ball well with their right hand and poorly with their left hand, and that we can distinguish those things, and that means they're right-handed, right? Is it 100%? No, but if you do enough throwing tests with people with right and left hands, you will be able to see that, in fact, it's a real thing, that it's not just make-believe, that it's not arbitrary, it's actually a real thing. Handedness is, right? So we understand that, in fact, attentional manners occur on a physical level as well. We physically pay attention with our right hand when we open a door if we're right-handed. We don't physically pay attention with our left hand if we open a door when we're left-handed, if we're right-handed. So, and that's automatic. It's kind of like, but it's demonstrative of the fact that there are functions in life that are binary like that are exclusive of one another. We can't deny that exclusivity, which is what's implicit in the critique against me. Now, regarding the second critique against me, that I'm an ISFJ, anybody who thinks I'm an ISFJ, show me an ENTP. That's a simple thing to say, because an ENTP is going to have a lot more extroverted intuition than an ISFJ. So you're going to find somebody who has a lot more demonstrated extroverted intuition than I do, and is going to be substantially more logical than me. So you need to show me that person.
My Aja is yellow. And that's how people are going to greet each other now.
Martha, Vicky, have you looked at my subscriber numbers? I have 6,000 subscribers, not millions
and
of followers.
recently just got hit 6,000. Like we
Yeah,
celebrated.
just recently.
Yeah.
Very few people have that special X factor in them. I hope you agree. I mean, I agree. Very few people have that special X factor in them. I'm not sure if I'm one or not, but I would say that a lot of successful people don't have that special X factor in them as well. You know,
You can have a special X factor and not be like.
and a lot of people who have that
Elon
special,
Musk.
and a lot of people who have that special factor don't end up being successful either. So I don't think there's a very strong correlation between that. Although I agree that I don't know who Steven Crowder is up in place 48. I'm sorry.
I think you're special, and like you have luck on your side and stuff. Like, I don't know. I see you as a successful person. I do, actually.
I see myself as hopefully moving towards something. But
Cool.
when I don't feel as though I'm moving towards something adequately, then I feel a sense of lacking in my life. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm not always sure what exactly it is. I may have some clarity about an ultimate destination, but I don't have a lot of clarity about what to do in any given moment. I am, subject to moods, subject to different levels of enthusiasm, and it's hard to say. Yellow. Running Fox, the healer color is yellow.
Yeah.
I thought anyway that Rachel's probably a yellow because she has that healer soul.
Thanks, baby. That's so kind of you.
And I actually think that I am a gray, which
Yeah.
is the mediation type. I really think that when optimally realized as a self, I am engaging in discourse that is very purposeful and communicative. And when I'm less optimal, I'm engaging in discourse that's more combative.
I think you're great. I appreciate your wisdom and your embrace of justice and fairness. That I do need a mediator in my life,
Well, I would say, Raphael, that perhaps my self-declared Aja as gray is aspirational as much as it is descriptive, by which I mean I would like to be more successful in my mediatory discourse, and so I'm going with my path of optimization more so than path of description. She's my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right. I'm his girlfriend.
Who was it who asked that question? I don't know. Maybe they removed it.
Oh, someone.
Somebody asked a question. Oh, yeah, here it is. Dream Lover says, wait, random question. How's Eric related to Rachel? She's my girlfriend.
I have a promise ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to lift it.
Yeah, my dad keeps me updated on what they say. I mean, we're going to ghost visit her in a couple weeks, probably. My dad was talking about that before he left. He's out of town right now. It's a weird thing to suddenly be cut off from somebody in your life so abruptly and so completely as has happened with the COVID stuff. But it's not like well, yeah. I don't feel for me. I feel like mom's gone anyway in some sense. Although, I kind of feel a sense of loss at the opportunity to be a good son and go there anyway and stuff.
It's okay. We can't really. Well, if we're gonna set it up, it's not that big of a deal. I'm looking forward to seeing her. I think when I think about her, I think of her fondly, and I always hope she's doing well. That they're treating her well.
I think they are.
Yeah, I think so too.
I have faith in the nursing home.
Me
I think
too.
It's a good place.
It's a nice place. I really, I look forward to seeing her. It seems like they love her too. Really. I mean, your mom's a very pleasant person. When she does, it's part of dementia, is part of, they know. They know.
That's a pretty nice description of it's a pretty nice, like, sort of words there, Cloud. A little goblin full of spite and false moral high ground.
That should be in the book. Yeah, for sure. With Sim's mom, I want to explain to you, since I was cut off yesterday because of the sound stuff. So here's what you do for practicing predicting cards with a pendulum. You pick 3 playing cards. You study those 3 playing cards. You mix up the cards. And then you use a pendulum, which could be a necklace of some sort. People have used, like, cool. So use that pendulum. You can use a necklace. You can use, people who've used, like, crystals. They tie crystals to the end of it. So you can either make your own or buy it. And and then you talk to it. You say yes, no, and see which way. It sometimes, like, it spins for yes. Sometimes it spins for no. Sometimes it's up and down for yes, side to side for no. That's what I did. Up and down for yes, side to side for no. Also, online they have, like, you could do a print out map of, like, a circle that says yes, no, maybe, ask again. And you can use that with the pendulum as well. So use the 3 cards, mix them up. Use the pendulum for yes, no. Is this, ace of, because it's the red ace, the ace of diamonds, and then it'll be yes for this or no for no.
Okay, left-in plates. That is not an example of you being an SI user. I never dropped my phone in the toilet because of my specific experiences of dropping things due to my SE Polar. So I'm especially careful with my phone in the bathroom. You need to draw a distinction between SI and NI. Those are 2 knowledge functions. They compare against each other. 2 kinds of fruit, apple and orange. You're comparing fruit versus swimming. SE is not the thing to compare against to understand SI, because SE is an action function. You're talking about random correlates that don't justify anything. If you're an INFP, and you're certainly not an INTP because you're not engaged in anything like INTP style discourse. It's pretty clear you're not. I can tell INTPs when they're, INTPs talk like Sky Gear talks. You might be an INFP, but I doubt you're either. I don't see in you anything resembling first or second spot any across the board in dealing with you. So it's very unlikely that you're either an INTP or an INFP. Very unlikely.
I agree with Rathor Vicky. He is a good soul.
My mom doesn't worry about things like that. What's this mom? My mom is beyond worrying about COVID. She's not engaged in that kind of awareness.
Yeah.
She's not that language capable or anything.
Correct.
I'm not talking to you, Rath or Vicky. I'm talking about Updim Plates 48. You're talking about practice. You talking about practice?
I'm talking about practice.
You're talking about practice. Okay?
Practice makes perfect. That's what one would say.
If the only purpose of Discord is to live stream with a group of people, I could do that already with my Aperion. I just don't generally like to do that. I want to do that.
I like the new lighter.
Yeah, they gave it to me. This is a present from them for spending so much money on these 2 bowls, I guess.
Yeah.
$20 a piece. It's like,
What is
okay.
this?
I know if I drive around and look places, I can find these things for $8 a piece.
Yeah. He knows.
What am I gonna do? Drive around all day looking for cheap bowls? No, just fuck it.
We thought that place was, but probably COVID changed stuff. I don't know. COVID changed stuff. I don't know. Thanks for the stickers.
What was that before, Eric? 1,000 euros, remember? Well, I mean, 1,000 euros is a lot more than 20. Yeah, I honestly want to run for president. I don't honestly just want to run for president. I honestly want to win the presidency. I think I'm the most qualified person in the country.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet anybody who's more qualified. This COVID shit knocked any possible chance I had of what I was sort of hoping for, which was some sort of split convention where there's not any clear majority where you can go in and hijack the thing. You know, those possible courses of actions shut down because of the COVID stuff. Well, I mean, we're looking at 2024, Cloud, obviously. I've been saying that for a long time. Dream Lover says delusions of grandeur.
I can help with.
All right, so wait, I want to address this. Normally, Dream Lover, I would agree with you that anybody who makes that claim has delusions of grandeur to say they're the most qualified person in the country to be president. What I'm telling you is, for a lot of reasons, I'm legitimately the most qualified person in the country to be president. I'm the person who's here to restore citizen democracy. I've got an actual platform. If you'd like to look at it, you're welcome to look at it.
It's true.
And that the actual person who is going to be president, that ought to be true about them, and they ought to believe it to be true. They ought to know they're that qualified. I've been a professional policy debate coach about public policy for a long time. And I debated public policy as a policy debater in high school. So I've got a lot of experience with how to construct public policy and what kind of justifications ought to be used and which ought not and why. In addition, I'm deeply aware of the different ways in which I need to validate for people because of cognitive functions. Because of understanding cognitive functions and typology, I'm uniquely qualified to recognize and validate positions that I don't agree with. And that's going to be pretty important. You know, it's like if anybody's going to be able to be actually build bridges, then we're going to have to stop being so divisive and group-minded. I'm an anti-groupist. Well, I appreciate your response because it allowed me to respond. That's another reason why I'm the most qualified. Unlike every other politician, it seems like, I want to respond to everything. I have the answer for everything. I'm anti-groupist, for sure. Doesn't matter what your groupism thing is, whether you hate the fill in the blank, whatever group, you know. That includes the Democrats or the Republicans or the Libertarians, you know. No, we're going to have to put aside this blame game that we have and actually focus on what makes sense as policy prescription.
Yes.
And allow ourselves to treat politics as grown-ups would treat it.
You're so little. Why are you here? Where are you coming
Who does Huckleberry think is an INTJ? Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Skugger. I'm pretty sure I see your Huckleberry. I see your question. Here's the thing. SE is a testable skill. It's just that because all of the testing that we do, if in fact I knew all of you guys lived around me, everybody who I talked to online lived within the vicinity of me, and I could hang out with you and we could throw a ball back and forth and stuff, I'm sure we could develop excellent SE tests. But I'm not sure that it would be as simple as some sort of efficacy in sports, you know? It might be something like walking through a house that's crowded with objects and see how many objects they bump into or something like that. But I think okay, here's the way I thought before to test SE in this context. Now, it would be tricky to construct it so that it worked out like this, but you'd have to give somebody a set of 3 or 4 easy, fairly quick tasks that they need to complete before they can move forward. It would be like, if, for example, you said, okay, before I can type you, though, you need to get me an MP3 of Jingle Bells and find a picture of Bob Saget standing next to somebody who stood next to Bill Clinton, and something else like that, right? Some little meaningless thing. The length of time that it takes the person to complete those tasks probably has some link to both SE and TE.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I've seen that actually.
So it's like I would have a hard time doing that unless I really wanted to do, for any reasons.
That's talking me real. Like, I can too, but it's like I have to get myself out of it also. You see me deep diving. I go deep dive. I can find anything, but so like the 4 slot, I just get exhausted afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember pushing your SE a little too far on occasion. And it's not a pretty sight. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Bob Saget standing next to Bill Clinton would count. Yes, that's right. That would count.
Yeah, it does count.
Because Bill Clinton himself is fine. I didn't know if you could find a picture of Bob Saget standing next to Bill Clinton himself, so I just said.
Sorry.
I added stand somebody else in between.
Getting the bugs.
Ignoring pain to win. Raphael, wouldn't it be better to just win painlessly? Physical pain is like that.
I definitely want some skin for that. Yeah.
That's a high 5. I'm always rolling with Bob Saget.
Me too.
Of course.
It's a really full house.
Mm-hmm. Who? John Stamos. Who? Harry Potter
Harry
had
Potter!
John Stamos' hair last night.
Yeah.
We finished watching all the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
We saw 8, which is Deathly Hallows Part 2. And that is such a lie. 3DR Nomad. 3DR Nomad is lying again. A little bit of pain always hurt everybody.
Yeah.
Not.
Who said that?
Never hurt nobody.
You said 3DR Nomad.
A little bit of pain never
Check
hurt
your
nobody.
words.
Actually, since you got a double negative in there, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, maybe you're right just because of the double negative. I heard I've heard Bob Saget's a little sketchy, but he seems kind of like a fine guy to me. He's just a joker.
Bob Saget?
I don't think he's like real sketchy. Like,
he's supposed to be a little creepy.
Is he #MeToo sketchy? Or is he just
I don't know. There's been rumors.
Rumors.
Yeah. It just came out about Ellen and her being like a wretched boss.
Yeah, I've been hearing that it's been all in the Google News' headlines.
Mm-hmm. That's been a thing that no one really talked about for a very long time.
Okay, so Cloud, that's a really good question and something I would like to have more clarity about myself. My daughter is an SE dom. She very much talks all the time. Yes, she talks a lot, right? When she and I are hanging out together, she talks more than me. Now, the thing is, I have said in the past that extroverted intuition has a lot to do with talking. So Cloud would be correct to say there's something wrong there, Eric, and there is something wrong there. It obviously action has a lot to do with action, and for most of us, most of our contexts require more metaphysical action than physical action. And so it does make sense that an action type is going to take the appropriate kind of action in the appropriate context. Just like any person is going to use SE when they're playing sports, an SE person is going to use NE when they are talking. And so, since mostly we talk, it is obviously easy to talk about SE shit because Delilah has no problem doing it. It's hard for me to talk about SE shit because I tend to find it banal. I can't usually remember what Delilah talked about. It doesn't seem, I guess, very important to me.
I remember because it's girl stuff.
Oh, it's girl stuff. That's why. That's why I don't remember. It's girls. They talk about girl stuff. Well, I love the fact that Rachel and Delilah get along so well together. That gives me a feeling of genuine FI, like warmth in the chest to see them getting along so well.
It gets me FI too. I really love Delilah. Like, she's a great kid. Like, you raised a great kid.
But I mean, the point is, an SE Dom will talk a lot in a different way than an NE Dom will. But they're going to take action appropriate to the context. So you might well point out that Cloud is somebody who talks a lot about abstract ideas. Well, he does, because this is an environment of abstract ideas almost exclusively. And therefore, distinguishing the SE and the NE is going to be distinguishing the process. Like, well, in what's the frame of action? And in this instance, the frame of action is to initiate and engage and continue to engage back and forth with individuals, including me, either people in the chat or me, specific people, to get a interface going, essentially. Whereas for an NE Dom, it's generally going to be to parse out the ideas, either using their FI deliberation function or their TI deliberation function. They're going to stay within the frame itself. In other words, they're going to see the action as validating within its own frame rather than as a stand-in for another frame's kind of action. Just be yourself. Generic as F, but also true. Single-mindedness and only using the obvious data to deduce a conclusion, in short. Is that what I said? Sort of, maybe. Hey. You're not wrapping that in enough FE bacon, your Huckleberry, okay? You got to take that idea right there, and you got to wrap it up in some FE bacon to make it tasty for the SE Doms. Your 8 slot FE is not doing a good enough job here. That was how who conceives of any polar.
I think people who are high with NE have humor. It's like an innate humor.
How is FE an interface function? Well, for example, you are interfacing with me on FE grounds. You want to win an FE battle here, Mark Dan. I've encountered you plenty of times before to know that that's how that plays out, which means you aren't here to engage about the ideas on their merits. You dislike me strongly and want to make me look bad. That's an FE interface function. What makes it interface is the fact that how well or poorly you succeed in doing that depends on how successfully you react or respond to what I'm saying, and vice versa. It's not something you can come in with a very clear plan about. You have to know in the moment what's going to work in response to what I'm doing, as I did in this instance. I knew in the moment how to respond to you, Mark Dan, and I did so on an FE level, not on a TI level. So I understood enough to say, okay, Mark Dan's not asking a real question. He doesn't deserve a real answer. Cloud, you love to co-opt my terms. Mark Dan, you've come in here and trolled so many times. You don't fool me anymore. Cloud, I don't feel any spite towards you at all.
Yeah.
Just because I operate on the assumption that my position on you is correct doesn't mean I hold you in any disregard, don't like you, or spiteful towards you at all. I'm not spiteful towards you at all.
At all.
But I do believe my position about you is correct.
I agree.
And I'm going to continue to talk as though it is. And that's okay. You do the same all the time. Oh. Sorry, Cloud, my bad.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I misunderstood. I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. He never does that.
My bad. This is part of the challenge of dealing with the live chat.
I thought that it was too, though. I thought it was directed towards you as well. It wasn't clear.
That's why people sometimes put the
that's why I
ats.
was like,
The ats are helpful.
yeah, ats are true.
Lon, truth is you poke nose at everyone's matter. Okay, look, Rather Vicky. That's a very FI sentiment, FITE sentiment, the sentiment of authority. Around here, we don't have much respect for authority, okay? Telling people that I'm an authority is going to get you absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
let me just clarify that. Do I have any questions for you? That's a good question, Email Anthrax. Let me ask you some questions. Thank you for offering to answer some. Email Anthrax, what do you value more, beauty or truth?
Good question.
And why? It just like, no, I like being called Host Eric, actually.
Yeah, he does.
I do like being called Host Eric, but I don't like being defended as being right because I'm an authority. I don't dislike it necessarily. I just think it's silly because I don't think that that's how you justify anything. I don't have any respect for the authority of anybody else. So why should anybody have any respect for the authority of me? Is how I think about it. They should agree with me when I'm right and disagree if I'm wrong. You know, it is reasonable if you're going to make a shortcut and say, since I don't want to figure all this shit out myself and do all the parsing myself and want to defer this area, this node of abstraction to somebody else, I'm a good person to defer it to. So if you want to use that as a justification for yourself, saying, well, I trust Eric as an authority, so I'm going to assume he's right about this, that I think is a reasonable thing to do. But to say other people should think I'm right because I'm an authority, that I don't think is ever going to work as an argument around here.
Who's your favorite Beatle?
Ringo.
Nice.
I like Ringo.
Nice.
Ringo seems like the coolest
That's
one.
a great answer.
Which one would you want to hang out with most? Ringo.
See, mine's John. I used to have a crush on Paul as a young girl, but as I got older, I grew to appreciate John's lyrics more.
That's true, you're Huckleberry. But truth is its own form of beauty. What about when they conflict? Do they ever conflict? Did truth and beauty ever conflict?
That's a good question, Winston's mom. Why isn't there mouse-flavored cat food? Are the, do ferrets eat mice?
Well, that's another good question.
Doesn't see himself as the underdog. He definitely rules. Ringo's the best. We gotta see.
He's underappreciated as a drummer.
He is underappreciated.
He's an amazing drummer who's very much underappreciated and not thought of.
I always thought he was underrated.
Well, the reason he's amazing is because he always plays the right beat for the thing. Mm-hmm. It's not because he's so fancy or whatever.
He used to record a lot of the drum beats, like after Paul and John would make the guitar parts.
How come I became so introverted in the past 5 years from the age of 24? Well, the thing is, you have a renaissance with your third function somewhere in early adulthood. This is my experience. First, I over-prioritized my tool function in childhood. Then I over-prioritized my third slot function in adolescence and young adulthood. And then I began to reprioritize my third slot function to balance it out. No, to reprioritize my second slot function to balance it out. So, and incorporate my fourth. So, for me, it went like introverted, extroverted, introverted, extroverted, basically. If you're talking about stages of life, as I kind of shifted back and forth between stages of being more introverted and more extroverted.
I wanted to answer Lawnmower. He is the underdog of the group, but the best part is he doesn't see himself that way. Ringo's like living it up. Are you kidding? He celebrated like a big birthday recently, and he had a huge live stream where he celebrated his birthday. We missed it, unfortunately, but
well,
it was cool.
You're still here, Mark Dan, which means I've not concluded you're just a pure spite monkey yet. I don't know. You did something last time. I don't even remember what it was, but it pissed me off. I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember what you said.
Something did. I do.
You said something to piss me off.
Yeah.
So, but you obviously haven't pissed me off enough or consistently enough for me to ban you yet. So I don't know. It means I'm obviously in a state of withholding judgment still. Can something be true and false at the same time? Well, okay. So there's this thing called the law of non-contradiction, which says that a thing cannot both be and not be in the same time, space, and context. And the fact is, in the law of non-contradiction, it only applies in the physical world and in binary conditional world within a frame. Among frames, it doesn't apply. So, in other words, there can be multiple copies of the same video being viewed concurrently at different places, and none of them really having a concrete physical location. Now, yeah, they do have there's a specific hard drive on some specific computer somewhere that has it, but the fact that you and I can both be accessing it concurrently at different spots in it and watching it is an indication that it is in violation of the law of non-contradiction. So it's true that video is playing in site A for person B. And it's also true that it's playing in site C for person D.
I just want to make a note that, first of all, I think we should watch the movie A Hard Day's Night one time, you and I. You'd really like it.
Okay.
Ringo's really good in it. And so I'm such a Beatles fan that I always thought that Ringo was cool. And
this is a really good observation.
That's so funny.
It's a really good observation,
That is
Winston's
a really
mom.
good observation, Winston's mom.
If you drew a penis on a vampire's place while they were sleeping, they'd never find out about it. Well, okay, somebody could tell them.
Ringo Starr rules. Everyone knows. Please, true Beatle fans, who really know music, know that.
Rachel, don't let yourself get goaded. Hold your back. Hold your back. Hold your back. Come on, don't punch him in the face.
It was a face at the same time. Ringo rules.
What's the reason attraction between a couple, girlfriend, boyfriend, start fading away in a few years? Any solution for that? What do you mean by attraction? You mean just like raw lust? I mean, it's true that as you stay together, you settle into a different pattern or a different schedule of sex than you did originally. Like when you first get together, you have more sex than when you settle into the relationship. But I think that in general, most people, or my experience has been once I settle into the long term relationship schedule, that it basically stays that way for the rest of the relationship. You know?
Yeah. Mm. It's so moist. It's really nice. We adore each other.
Attraction means admiration for each other. That's what attraction means. Do we admire each other?
Your dad might think
Excuse
so.
me. Let me admire you. Oh yes. Classic lines. The smooth skin. That's what it seems to me when you say admire.
Well, I am your no. I'm not an admiration bucket. I'm an adoration bucket.
Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, admire.
I don't think of myself or Rachel. I don't think of us as being admiring of each other. That's a strange word.
Yeah. I admire your accomplishments. You're a dignified man in the sociotic MBTI typology world.
See, the thing is this: who wants to be the guy who goes up to the vampire to inform him that he has the penis on his face? Dracula?
Not me.
Count Dracula? Listen,
Not
don't
it.
kill the messenger, okay? Seriously, this time. I mean this literally. Don't kill the messenger, please. But you have a big penis on your face. You're never gonna see it because you can't use a mirror. You should reward me for this, not be angry at me. Okay, I should have started with that.
You know, I never realized how true the phrase "don't be the person to fall asleep at the party" was until I went to this one party and it was at 8:00. I was there at 8:00 and the dude was like asleep on the couch. So he got rode on and I said Rachel was here.
Oh.
And I think I put like a smiley face. There were a lot of tattoos.
I bet. Oliver Linehan, upon your visage would be, I think, a little bit more correct than on your facade. Upon your visage. Sir, it appears someone has brandished a phallus upon your visage.
Wow. That's some statement.
My lord. You wish those Twilight movies had that scene? It would have made them tolerable to watch.
Well, that's a movie where they admire each other. I admire that you are a human being. That you are tasty. I'm a vampire.
My lord, I know you've told us to celebrate evil, but I'm uncertain about the particular evil on your royal visage.
That was fucking great. That would have made that story so much more tolerable. You're right, Sandy. He
Liz?
might like it. He might.
Yeah, I put that there myself.
He's really good at the choice. I can't look at him.
What do you mean? You don't think it looks cool? You mean you think somebody else put that there? Now, granted, I couldn't use a mirror while I was drawing it, so.
Yeah, they're my really good friends. They like to put penises on your face, and they're your really good friends. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind penises on my face. Oh, okay. I do. Vampires feed off
Zombies don't feed off energy at all. But isn't eating life kind of getting energy? Like, they don't just survive. Zombies eat people to keep on going.
They don't eat the blood.
Ew.
They don't eat the meat.
They like
part.
tear people apart. Yeah, the brains.
Vampires are the hummingbirds of the undead. Okay, they only sup upon the nectar of people. They're a nectar-based creature.
They-
Okay.
Oh, you're my nectar-based creature. I used to be afraid of vampires when I was little. So I used to sleep with the covers over my neck.
Vampires probably walk around with a blood mustache all week. Oh, did I leave some here? Oh, so embarrassing. They called me Carlton, the penis-faced hummingbird of the undead. I'm a vampire.
Oh my gosh. They couldn't even make like werewolves look cool.
Well, regardless of how useful typology is, I wouldn't like to use it to force people to do anything. So,
What?
typology.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I don't like the way that schools currently do things at all. And I don't doubt that actually if they were to track students according to type, it would be better than the status quo, but I wouldn't endorse that policy anyway. Because I'd expect something more like let every student find their own educational course or have students and their families determine that sort of stuff, etc. You don't know my dreams, 'cause I'm dreaming of rainbows tonight. I think Running Fox usually dreams about rainbows.
Probably.
You can tell by the
That's a
picture.
nice- Yeah.
Oh, I'm dreaming about rainbows again. I'm Running Fox. I've got rainbows. Oh, look, there's clovers. And there's the elf guy.
Isn't that kind of me though?
Hey.
I mean, you know that's kind of me.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I can imagine Running Fox is probably an FI version. More like, I don't know. What type are you, Running Fox? Are you INFP?
Rainbow Bright was my favorite growing
INFJ?
up. I think she's got to be an INFJ. Rainbow Bright was my favorite character as a child.
Too many colors, too much luminescence. Which philosopher do I agree with most? Myself. I don't have any philosophers I agree with. I read all philosophers from a debate coach perspective. They make specific arguments. I don't even remember necessarily who makes the arguments. But most philosophy books are a bunch of validation for a little bit of argument. So I know the arguments, and I know the big picture validation chunks, and I know which arguments work against which other arguments and stuff like that. I've got my own sort of worldview, meta-rationalist philosophy worked out after a long time. It's not like it came about suddenly. I had to work it out over time.
BRB, I'm going to try and find Kitty.
Okay, you BRB. I can dream a dream of 1,000 miracles every day with rainbows. I can dream a dream of joy and love and laughter. Oh yeah. Who wants to dream a dream of joy and love and laughter with me? Anybody? What's AFK? After Katie? Yes, she's after Katie right now. Cause I dream a dream of laughter, love, and learning. And my fox is running through the wild whispers. Look, there is a lovely bunny rabbit. Running fox, running in her dreams. Do introverted people attract introverted types of pets? I don't think you end up with a pet that you attract. I think you end up getting a pet for a variety of reasons. Like my current pet was the leftover puppy. I mean, the leftover kitten of a litter of kittens. And I couldn't find anybody to give her to, so I kept her. Slaughter and laughter rhyme. We should pronounce it laughter. I agree. If we're going to pronounce the first one slaughter, we should pronounce the second one laughter. Slaughter, I guess, since we do pronounce them differently, slaughter means laughter at slaughter. Boo, Broccoli Todd, boo. You're wrong, boo. Boo, wrong, boo. Only TI users. That's right. But I'll tell you what, Broccoli Todd, when I'm president, I'm going to make you chief of the Bureau of Broccoli. You aren't going to have any powers, but you're going to have a special broccoli suit that you have to wear to official functions. It'll be funny. It'll lighten the mood. When we're about to go to war, I'll have Broccoli Todd standing next to me wearing his broccoli outfit. And at the end, don't forget to have some delicious broccoli tonight. That's what he'll say. After Slaughter comes Britney Spears. The Britney Spears show is scheduled for right after the battle's over. And to cheer the mood of people rescuing the wounded and burying the dead, after the battle, Britney Spears will perform. I really am quite taken by the idea of incorporating into the Pentagon's plans having pop stars perform at the end of any battles that occur to cheer up the people who gather up the wounded and bury the dead and such. I think so. That's my take on it. You know, it's always hard to type characters because they don't always act consistent with a specific type. Depends on how well written they are, basically, and how realistic they are as people. When will you do more function videos like your SINI videos? Well, the title of this video tells you when, your Huckleberry. Okay? Tells you when. I am currently waiting for my man. $26 in my hand. He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you always gotta wait. It's coming in. My prescription's coming out on Wednesday. But I'll probably end up doing some videos like that tonight. Some stuff like that. I'm going to go dancing. I'm going to put on my red dress and my yellow skin, and I'm going dancing. Zandy's correctly predicted my evening. Right, that's me out on the town. Doing the Mexican dance. Some sort of South American dance. Eric, how do you feel about these random window knocks at 3 a.m.? I haven't gotten any random window knocks at 3 a.m. I mean, I would say that if there are random window knocks at 3 a.m., that a lot of people have a Ring, you know, and other kind of video surveillance. Should be plenty of examples of such. INFP have bad dressing sense? You mean like you choose Thousand Islands when you should choose ranch? Usually, if somebody knocks on your window at 3 a.m., you're getting lucky. Right? That means that girl you were talking to got drunk and has decided to come visit or something like that. I'm not like other girls. You're the ghost of an Arctic fox lost in the woods? I'm the ghost of an Arctic fox lost in the woods. A world full of learning, laughter, and love. If it's an Arctic fox, why are there woods? Flying fox. There are no woods in the Arctic. Doy. It's too cold. Too cold for trees. It's just snow and ice and Arctic foxes. Right now, I'm perceiving you as a wispy dandelion flower, pieces of which are blowing through the breezes of learning, laughter, and love. Oh, look, they're blowing onto Levi Samuels. Catch her. Catch her dandelion petals, Levi. Catch them. Like that. C.S. Joseph spent his whole videos on ISFJs complaining about how toxic they are because his mom was bad. Good job, C.S. Joseph. Good job. Good work there. Does it process information or does it produce it? Well, I guess you'd say it's like the interface with static objects within its system. In some sense, every function interfaces with static objects. You know, it has to. The least static of them being SE, I guess. But like if I'm going to generate a new poem, I have here in front of me in stream, because this is SE. No, I owe him. I owe my man $26. So if I were to say, this is known as start. This is but the end stream. And I want to know apart this from what is then dream. Okay, so I made up a poem there. I took in stream from SE. I took the rest of the stuff from SI and NE. Yep. Your Huckleberry, you've nailed it. On the nose. Pow. Everyone knows that a true ENTP looks exactly like an ESTJ. So what you're saying is INFJs don't value logic or facts? No, I'm not saying that. Oh, you're talking to Cloud, though. Yes, Waiting for My Man is a reference to a Velvet Underground song. A lot of people have suggested perhaps that Eric had a boyfriend or something. No. Just quoting a Velvet Underground song about waiting for drugs. Because if you're going to accuse me of waiting for drugs, you'll be correct. I am, in fact, waiting for drugs. And,
Hey, Levi Samuels.
You know, when you're waiting for drugs, boy, is it nice when you finally get them. That's one of the good things about waiting for drugs.
That is.
There's no $26 in this song. Okay, there's a Velvet Underground song called "Waiting for My Man," and it says in the lyrics of it, "I'm waiting for my man. $26 in my hand. He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you always gotta wait. I'm waiting for my man. Hey, white boy, what you doing uptown? Hey, white boy, are you chasing our women around? No, pardon me, sir. It's furthest from my mind. I'm just looking for a real good friend of mine. I'm waiting for my man." That's the song lyrics. We're going to pull a couple cards, I guess. Let's see.
You doing for me?
Yes, I will pull a free pull for you, Rachel.
Thanks.
We're going to call this. We're going to call this head part, boobs part, vag part.
Oh, cool.
So this
Okay.
is, you could think of it as, head, like spirit, heart, body, if you want. Or if you just think of it as head, boobs, vag, however you want to think.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Head. Moon. You're feeling moony. That's the dream of emotion and mooniness. It's a moony, moony head. Now let's look at your boobs. Metaphorically, not literally. Okay?
Okay, see you in a bit. Levi Samuels.
Boobs.
Ooh.
Your boobs, your heart is the king of swords. Very rational. You can trust your feelings. They're being very rational. That's unusual for feelings. Makes them special.
Okay.
Now, your moist bits. The tenderest of the loins.
It is.
Let's see about the womanly folds within. Sorrow, anguish. Wow.
I know.
Sorry to hear that.
Me too.
Let's get a clarifier on this.
Yeah. Maybe because I was worried at the moment I was clenching.
Clarifier.
Yeah, dude. Totally. Because I said I was clenching. How's that?
There you go. Now, do you want to do a 3-pull for me?
Yeah.
You want to do my head,
Head,
my torso,
your boobs,
my boobs,
and your penis.
my
Or
junks.
your junks.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of man bit.
Yeah. Assorted man bits indeed. Okay.
We'll do you, Rathor Vicky next, okay?
Head.
Head. Partnership,
Shit.
vision, path, plan. Two of rods,
Aligned.
aligned,
Yeah.
kindred.
His head is.
I'm an A cup, Rathor Vicky.
A-cups.
Don't like fun. My boobs. They're
They're
vivacious.
pretty. They are showing a lot. I mean, you have to put them on camera, so.
Ooh la la. They're fiery. They're the queen of rods.
Queen of Rods. This is his A cups.
All right. Now
Jump.
my manly parts.
Yeah.
Hierophant.
Conventional.
We're settling in. Settling into regular, every 3 days or so sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
If Kitty just got a thing, I don't want her coming in here with it.
Okay, let me help you with this though.
No, she doesn't have a thing. It's fine.
Okay.
She was just playing.
She saw you come and she was like, I'm letting it go. Good girl, Pee-Pee. Good girl. I'm gonna pet her.
The classic T.E. Dom quote, facts don't care about your feelings. I mean, I think that's something TE doms and TI doms would all probably say. Sperm are very receptive, so they'd appreciate positive affirmations once in a while.
True.
Like sperms like to have their morale
They
boosted
do,
with
yeah, why
positive
not?
regard. All right, I think I'm about ready to wrap this live stream up, but I did say Wrath or Vicky we'd pull a poll for
Okay,
Wrath or
yeah,
Vicky.
let's.
All right, Wrath or Vicky's head. This one again. You got this one.
For
we're
head.
thinking for head.
Conventional structure, the Hierophant.
Now, Wrath or Vicky for your chestal region.
Pubes.
Your pubes. Oh my God, you have the dreamiest boobs. Imagine, visualize the 7 of Cups. So that means your boobs, you got a lot of choices in your heart.
Yeah, maybe
Too
you
many
wear,
choices in your heart.
You like wearing a lot of different kinds of bras.
You like to keep all the choices in your heart, even though you can't have them all.
Yeah, that's more.
You have to let
that's
some
it.
of them go
Yes.
and embrace others, okay? You can't choose all the choices in your heart.
That's a lot of, yeah.
That involves too much choiciness. And lastly, for the manhood beneath the hood. Okay? Because Wrath or Vicky's a dude.
Yeah.
The manhood beneath the hood. Here you go. Sublime. It's the healer. That's what you got to tell the girls.
That makes sense as an INFP.
Hey, look, girls, listen. My penis is known as the king of cuffs, a sublime healer, generous, moody, and calm. You know you want some of that
Penis.
moody, calm sex. I like to have sexual intercourse that's both moody and calm. We put on Sade. We listen to Sade.
That is moody and calm.
And then in the middle of intercourse, I'll say, I'm a smooth operator. And she'll say, coast to coast, baby. And I'll say, LA to Chicago. And then we both climax concurrently.
Wow.
You remember, that was yesterday. I'm always blasting the Sade when we make love.
Oh, yeah. We used to share a birthday. We used to.
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Goodbye to everybody. I'm going to go now, too. We need to eat something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, we'll figure something out here.
Yeah.
And
What do you want to do?
don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.